All right, let's go ahead and get started today. So we're going to basically spend most of our time talking through group case 2 and practicing for next Wednesday, but just wanted to talk about a few things administratively that are going to be coming up relative to the next couple weeks. So first and foremost, I had to make a change in TAs yesterday. So 3 of our TAs are leaving, and we have a couple new TAs that will be joining us. So that will affect your section. And right now, Chris Patel, the remaining TA, is covering your sections until the other TAs get up to speed. So basically, he put an announcement up earlier today. He will be having extended office hours tomorrow. I think it's like 1:30 to 3 and then 3:30 to 5:30 or something like that. Check his announcement for time. I know Max Burke, who was in the class last semester, is going to join us as a TA, and I believe there will be one other. So again, doesn't really affect you other than you'll have different people who will be doing your grading for the rest of the semester and helping you as office hours go up. If there are any issues, feel free to talk to me, because again, if you're asking for exceptions, etc., you've been probably coming to me already, right? So with that in mind, Monday is still midterm 1, and midterm 1 is still going to be taken during the class time that you are registered for. So right now, we are in section 301, which starts at 2 p.m. So the exam will open up 5 minutes before the start of your class time. So again, it's very important you take it based on the time you're registered for at Elms. So again, open up at 1:55 for your section. You'll have 90 minutes, so basically 2 until 3:30 to submit. The deadline to submit is by 3:30. The deadline goes away at that point, okay? Now, again, you don't have to be in this room. You can take it anywhere that you have an internet connection. You're basically going to download the file in Excel and convert the file within that file. So remember, you're not using any other files. And you're going to basically create 4 new tabs, basically a TII, a TFI, a CFI, and an EP tab, and you're going to upload that file. But there will be one additional thing that you're going to have to do that you hadn't done before. So you're going to help me help you, okay? So in order to expedite the grading, what we're going to do is I'm going to probably give you 8 to 10 questions where you're going to actually type in some of the answers in your converted file, which we're going to use to grade that file. So what I might say is, give me the 2019 TII, all right? And I'll say format XXX, which means I'm looking for 3 digits, and then you type in that number, okay? Or give me the 2020 TFI, XXXX. So that means 4 digits. And by the way, Elms doesn't do well with commas. So if I say 4 digits without a comma, just type in 1,000, 10000. Okay? Now, if I say, give me the 2022 free cash flow, and I say xx.x, that means it's probably not a whole number. I'm looking for something that's going to have a decimal place into it, and standard rounding applies. So if it's xx.x and your answer is 22.25, type in 22.3. Okay? If your answer is 22.21, type in 22.2. Now, if you actually have 22.21, you want to type in 22.21, that will be fine. But basically, if you do round, as I get to the decimal place I'm looking for, standard rounding applies at the half number. Okay? So the reason that will be helpful is that at 5 o'clock, after everybody's taken that exam, you'll be graded immediately, and you'll see your grades. So end of day, Monday will be graded with the following caveat. Because you're giving the Excel file and your models have to balance, we're still going to check the Excel file. So if you type in the right number and you get credit, but we see later that your model didn't balance, we're going to go back and give you a 0 for that number, okay? So you still have to submit a balancing model. We're going to check it there, but the balancing model will still be checked even for your grade. So your grade could go down, not up. Now, also, if for some reason there's a negative number, make sure you put a minus in front of it. But let's just say the answer is like negative 200, and for some bizarre reason you forgot to put in the minus, you put in 200, and we can actually validate that in your Excel file that you had negative 200, then you can appeal back to me or the TA, and we can probably validate the number on your Excel file and give you credit. All right? So the Excel file basically is to make sure you balance it, to make sure that, as I said, if there is a problem with the typing, we can validate that it is actually mistyped, right? And number three, it's also make sure you're following the honor code, because this is an individual exam and you're submitting your Excel file, not somebody else's. Yes, sir.
I just had a question about like the format. Let's say the answer you were looking for was negative. Would that be like
Minus,
so it would have the
I'd actually say minus XXX.
okay, got it.
Right. So, and again, I'm not going to try and fool you to give you something that's a whole number will be a whole number. Something that has a decimal place will have a decimal place. Something that has a minus in front of it, it's going to be a negative that I'm looking for in the answer. Okay. So in a way, that's a little bit of a hint that should help you to kind of validate what you're typing in. Because if I'm asking for XXX and you have a number with a decimal place, probably not going to be correct. Yes.
Is it the same format as the practice one on Helms? Like in the sense that like, you're also giving us the labels when before?
And I will give you the labels. So basically you're going to get historical statements, income statement and balance sheet with labels on a tab. And then you're just going to download it and then create new tabs and then rebalance it. That's all the exam is. There is no analysis on the midterm. You're just doing the conversion. Okay, so that's Monday. Again, take it during class time. Unless you have an exception, if you have an approved exception you've sent to me, then you're going to take the exam called the alternative midterm, right? You'll type in a password. That one doesn't have a timer on it, so you'll just take it given the time on the honor code that you're available. So 90 minutes if it's a normal excuse. If you have double time or time and a half, then you could just start it and finish it during that time. You just have flexibility of when they take it. Everybody else is taking it during the time of their registered class. Okay, so that's Monday. So then Wednesday will be group case 2, similar in format to group case 1. Everyone will come in. Your PowerPoints are due by 10 a.m. on Wednesday. Okay, you're gonna have different presenters for group case 2 than group case 1. They're gonna come in. I'll be sitting in the middle of the room. I'll have my iPad out, 10-minute countdown timer. Basically, you're gonna go through the ROIC tree and the CFI. You'll get a grade at the end of the class, and then that's it. I moved the homework 6 deadline to the Wednesday after spring break. So when you finish on Wednesday of next week, enjoy spring break. And you don't have to think about this class until you come back, right? Now I will tell you that the clock is still running on one other assignment while you're on spring break, which is the Bloomberg Trading Sim, okay? And that deadline for the first scoring of the first half of the semester is the Monday after spring break when you come back at the end of the day, Monday, March 25th. Right? So you might want to do some planning if your portfolio is going to be just unmanaged for a week, and think about, you can't be in cash, but think about what you're going to be putting in when you probably can't be looking at the markets every day, given the craziness that's going on with the markets. So just as a quick check-in on where we are today, let's look at your section. Idea, section 301. Portfolio values. Okay, I don't count. I got a couple teams in this section need to get past 10 longs. Hey, we actually got a team that's in the black. This team has actually generated a positive return. That's not easy to do in this market. So basically, I would be disqualified anyways for too much cash, but regardless, this is the performance through today, right? And I will tell you, in this market, remember, you can short. So if you're worried about things going down, you can short as well as go long. Just make sure you have 10 longs by the end of the day, March 25th. Okay? All right, can't go to cash. All right, questions about any of that? Yes, sir.
When did this update? We have no shorts since week 2.
This would be probably cumulative. So if you had shorts that you covered, it would keep track of how many you previously had. Other questions? All right, so the other thing I just want to mention is today there's actually a couple of news items that you might want to pay attention to, particularly 2 relative to the economy. So I saw 2 big economic headlines that might be very important to us to consider. What do you think they were? Yeah.
10-year treasuries below 1%.
Yeah, so basically interest rates. Fed cutting the rate and the 10-year treasury going below 1%. You know, on the one hand, it should theoretically lower the discount rates, lowers WACC if the risk-free rate's going down. But the flip side is, I think the market also interprets that is, oh no, it's actually just as bad as we thought it was in the economy, because the Fed's recognizing the challenges. So still seeing some choppy markets out there. I don't know, is the market up or down right now? It's up a lot today, it was down yesterday. So again, if nothing else, in a volatile market, there's opportunities out there. We got to figure out what they are. But actually, to me, there was even one piece of news that was actually far more scary. And I'll give you a hint. It was outside the U.S. Anybody see that headline? Yeah.
Isn't the coronavirus is deadlier than the flu?
That one scares the hell out of me too. But that was actually not the one I was thinking about, economically, business-wise. Had to do with China. Right now, the expectation is China will have negative GDP this quarter. Let me say that one again. The Chinese economy is going to shrink. That hasn't happened in a really long time. Like anytime I work with China, if they go below 6%, it's Armageddon. Like that's like a national failure. And they're actually talking about negative GDP in China. Their country is shut down. They're not manufacturing things. People aren't buying things. The quarantines have caused dramatic problems. And this is the second largest economy in the world. So I'm just saying, it just shows that the impact this virus has, and it is starting to go global because you can't buy stuff if the supply chain is not working. And if their customers aren't buying it, all these exporters are having problems. And if the virus gets worse in other countries, as it's starting to get in Italy, Japan, South Korea. In fact, California is now spreading, if you saw that. But basically, having much more economic impacts. That, at least in the intermediate term, is something to keep an eye on. And you already saw, I think according to Bloomberg's keeping track of this list, 46 or 48 companies have already started to sort of actually file earnings warnings. All right, and that's coming up every single day. All right, so unfortunately, I think this is related to the interest rates, but something I wish it was better, but we're gonna have to pay a lot of attention to on the economic side. So again, think about all this, how it might affect some of the companies, trading opportunities, but that's where you stand today. Okay? What I want to spend the balance of our class time on is to help you get prepared for Group Project 2, which is on the historical ROIC tree and CFI analysis. Okay? So if you go to ELMS, first of all, on the files tab and the assignments for Group Case 2 is up, and the Group Case 2 assignment that you're actually going to be working on is a company called Caterpillar. Right? They make giant Tonka toys that you play with in the dirt. Or said another way, if you need to do a dump truck, a loader, a big thing that digs stuff out of the ground, they make all that construction engineering equipment. Okay? So that's the company that you're going to be doing the CFI and the ROIC tree analysis on. Okay? That's next Wednesday. Do the analysis, turn in the PowerPoint, do a good job on Wednesday, 5%, I'll be doing the grading. Today, I want to kind of do a little bit of a dry run into practice. So I also put up in the Files tab, in Historical Case Files, another company called HAL, which is Halliburton, their ROIC tree, and their CFI. Okay, so let's start out with Halliburton's ROIC tree. And I'm going to give you 5 minutes to just talk amongst yourselves and start the analysis, okay? But before we do, 2 things. One, who is Halliburton and what do they do? Does anybody know who Halliburton is and what they do? So in Bloomberg, somebody go to HAL US Equity, type in DES, and read the description for the benefit of the class. So what do we have for Halliburton? What do they do?
They provide energy and engineering and construction services as well as manufacturing products for the energy industry. The company offers services and products and integrated solutions to customers in the exploration, development, and production of oil and natural gas.
Okay, so just as we know, it's good to have context for the company that we're going to analyze, but basically they're providing the Shells, the BPs, the Exxon Mobils, the frackers of the world with the equipment and the construction engineering services to do all their drilling exploration type stuff. Okay, so that's Halliburton. Okay, that's the company that we're going to be looking at. So let's go back. Got the ROIC tree. I'd say just small groups. This is not for a grade. Talk amongst yourselves. Just kind of prepare as if we're going to do the analysis. Give about 5 minutes. Then I'm going to look for a volunteer to come up to the front of the room and actually go through the ROIC tree. Okay? So it's your chance to get a dry run. And you might say, well, gee, I might not do the perfect job. Hey, it's your chance to practice today. Get some feedback, get some coaching so that your group is ready to go next Wednesday. Okay? So we're going to give you about 5 minutes or so, and then we're going to ask for a volunteer, and then we're going to go through that process. So take some time to get started.